Being a WWE superstar must be one of the most high-pressure jobs in the world. They wrestle a demanding schedule, often appearing multiple times a week on house shows, live TV, and huge pay-per-view events. Traveling around the world with the same group of people non-stop can naturally lead to frayed tempers, especially when your colleagues are also rivals for your spot on the card. So it's no wonder that throughout WWE history, backstage arguments have sometimes escalated into physical confrontations. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and as an expert in hand-to-hand combat, I feel there's nobody better qualified to guide you through the 10 biggest backstage blow-ups in WWE history. Join us. Number 10, Chris Jericho confronts Brock Lesnar. Let's not beat around the bush here. Brock Lesnar is a former UFC heavyweight champion and one of the scariest men on the face of the planet. He looks like a cross between a silverback gorilla and a wardrobe full of meat. So it's crazy to think that Chris Jericho got in his face backstage at SummerSlam 2016. The finish of that pay-per-view saw Lesnar legitimately bust open Randy Orton's head with several hard elbows, leaving the Viper in a pool of his own blood. It looked like a real-life version of the wasted screen on Grand Theft Auto. Although this was the planned finish, it was kept secret from many backstage, one of whom was Orton's close friend Y2J, who confronted Lesnar as soon as he came back through the curtain. Jericho himself described the incident as nothing more than a brouhaha, and said that it diffused after a few seconds of nose-to-nose yelling. Still, Y2J has always prided himself on never backing down from a fight. That said, my money would have still been on Lesnar. Number 9. Sin Cara throws a can at Simon Gotch. The original Sin Cara gained an unfortunate reputation for not being very tough, and once attempted to wave off a match with Alberto Del Rio after dislocating his finger. Dislocating a finger would certainly hinder my working day, but the rules are very different in the pro wrestling business. Once Sin Cara was sent on his way, his gimmick was filled by Hunico, who was certainly regarded as a far tougher prospect backstage. This was never more evident than his fight with Simon Gotch, a confrontation reported by the Wrestling Observer as a quick and one-sided beatdown. Bizarrely, the fight apparently started when Sin Cara launched a soda can at Gotch's head. So perhaps next time Jack acts up in Cultaholic Towers, he might find a Dr. Pepper hurtling in his direction. Number 8. Bret Hart pulls out Shawn Michaels' hair. It's fair to say that towards the end of their time together in WWF, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels weren't exactly the best of friends. This incident, a few months before the Montreal Screwjob of 1997, saw the pair genuinely come to blows backstage. The fight stemmed from a comment made by HBK during a promo segment on Raw, where he said that Bret had seen a lot of sunny days recently. The implication was that Hart was having a secret backstage relationship with Tammy Sytch, despite Michaels actually having a secret backstage relationship with Tammy Sytch. 3 weeks after the comment, Hart confronted Shawn, claiming that it was causing problems between him and his wife. He took down HBK, and the pair are said to have scuffled for a few seconds before being separated. Bret must be considered the winner here, as he emerged with a handful of Shawn's lovely long hair. Number 7. Brock Lesnar and Curt Hennig almost kill everyone. The plane ride from hell is one of the most infamous road incidents in WWE history, taking place on a 2002 flight back to the States after a UK tour. Several wrestlers were involved in controversy on the plane ride, but Lesnar and Mr. Perfect took things to a different level by almost killing everybody. Hennig was a notorious backstage prankster, and apparently had been annoying Brock by suggesting that he was a better amateur wrestler. A quick word of wisdom here: if you're going to challenge your work colleague to an amateur wrestling match, don't do so at 30,000 feet. Lesnar and Hennig went at it in the aisle of the plane, not like that, and apparently crashed into the door at one stage. Had it opened, well, the wrestling landscape probably wouldn't look the same right now. Number 6. Booker T deflates Batista's ego. Batista was the star of SmackDown in the mid-2000s, and apparently he sure knew it too. The former Evolution enforcer is alleged to have rubbed many people up the wrong way, bragging about how he was the main reason people tuned into the blue brand. Booker T didn't take too kindly to this, and at a commercial shoot for SummerSlam 2006, got into it with the animal. Reports differ on who won the fight, but most have Booker as the victor. And that's despite Batista's advantage of being a huge, terrifying monster man. This incident apparently earned Booker a lot of respect backstage, so think about that next time you tweet something about him being a terrible commentator. Shucky ducky quack quack indeed. Number 5. The Big Show versus the Great Khali. Okay, full disclosure, this isn't the most thrilling fight on this list. According to Chris Jericho's autobiography, the two giants exchanged messy blows for a few seconds before Big Show tripped over a chair and Khali fell on top of him. That's about it. However, the important thing to realise is that two of the biggest men in pro wrestling history had a fight backstage, and if that isn't a jaw-dropping matchup, I don't know what is. Apparently, the source of their argument was the fact that Khali had been stealing Big Show's overhand chop in matches, but Jericho speculated that it was actually the culmination of years of giant heat. That locker room was only big enough for one of them. Or maybe about 1/2 of them, if that makes sense. You know, because they're massive. Number 4, JBL gets knocked out by Joey Styles. It's time to talk about Ross Tweddell's best friend, John Bradshaw Layfield. It's probably fair to say that over the years, JBL has developed a bit of a reputation as something of a backstage bully, but he's certainly got his comeuppance. So who was it that finally gave JBL a taste of his own medicine? A legitimate tough guy like Lesnar? A locker room leader like The Undertaker? No, it was Joey Styles. For the unaware, Joey Styles is a 5'7" non-wrestler most famous for his time calling ECW. He certainly doesn't look like somebody who could stand up to the beefy JBL, but he did just that during an overseas tour in the Middle East, knocking John out with a single blow. EC-dub, EC-dub, EC-dub. Good job, Joey. Number 3, Jacques Rougeau and Dynamite Kid. Like most stereotypical Englishmen, the British Bulldogs were renowned as slightly troublesome backstage. Dynamite Kid in particular rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way, and is still regarded as one of the most controversial figures in WWE history. In the late 80s, towards the end of his WWF run, Dynamite Kid became embroiled in a legitimate rivalry with Jacques Rougeau. Things escalated when Jacques believed Kid to have stolen items from his gym bag, although it was actually notorious prankster Kurt Hennig, the lovable scamp. Kid and Jacques ended up brawling as a result, with the tough Brit getting the better of the Canadian, who by his own admission was not a fighter. However, he did get his revenge. Backstage at a later show, Rougeau sucker punched Dynamite Kid while holding a roll of quarters in his fist, knocking several of his teeth out. This incident forced Vince McMahon to step in, and Dynamite Kid's WWF career didn't last much longer. Number 2, Nails attacks Vince McMahon. Nails may not be the most memorable wrestler in WWE history, but his backstage altercation with Vince McMahon himself has made him one of the most infamous. The incident was reportedly the result of a pay dispute, and you can understand Nails' frustration. Financial disagreements can be stressful and mentally taxing. However, the way Nails chose to solve the issue was a bit of a questionable decision. He attacked his boss. Bret Hart recounts in his autobiography how Nails cornered Vince and screamed at him for a good 15 minutes before knocking Vince over in his chair, choking him violently. You're not going to believe it, but Nails was released shortly after the incident. Number 1, Bret Hart punches Vince McMahon. Speaking of people who attacked Vince McMahon, one just happens to be one of the most well-respected wrestlers in the history of the business, Bret the Hitman Hart. Everyone knows the events of the Montreal Screwjob, Vince, Shawn Michaels and Earl Hebner combining to screw Bret out of the WWF Championship prior to his departure to WCW. Many will have also seen the footage of Bret spitting at Vince over the top rope, but some might not be aware that things escalated even further backstage. Vince came into the locker room to talk with an understandably furious Bret. Hart warned him to get out, but Vince refused to move. In an incident which has now passed into wrestling folklore, Bret rose from his seat, naked according to some sources, and KO'd the boss with one punch. Naked. The film crew for the fantastic documentary Wrestling with Shadows happened to be backstage at the show and captured footage of a groggy Vince staggering down the corridor afterwards. It doesn't get much more controversial or shocking than that. I've been Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, check us out on Patreon, and most importantly, don't forget to join us. Do you like wrestling? Are you a lonely individual who would like some companionship on the internet? Do you want to talk about the graps with fellow like-minded people? Would you like a chance to interact with people like this? And this? And this? Great, then come and join our Facebook group. That's right, we've set up a brand new place for people like you to come and chat, share stories, and just have a bloody great laugh. Here's the URL. Did you miss that? Here it is again. One more time. And here it is for our French users. And our German users. Or how about our Polish users? Great, we'll see you there for lots and lots of fun. And remember, this definitely wasn't an advert. Here's a picture of Gilbert.